what is it exactly that we want to know when we are looking at team effectiveness? First of all, teams exist to produce results. So we have to find the competencies that are responsible for supporting teams in the ability to produce, to be productive. We will call that the productivity continuum. And then we also will look at the culture of that team, that culture that creates that engaged environment. So we need to look at these competencies that help and support teams with that positive team culture. So we look at the positivity continuum. So if I draw this as a two-dimensional graph, we can map any team that we want to assess, that we want to look at, will fall somewhere in these quadrants. So we look at how positive do the teams rate themselves? Are they being rated based on several factors? And how productive are they being rated? And then we will get something like this. And we want, of course, every team as much as we can in the blue quadrant. We want them as highly productive as we can. We want them as highly positive as we can. So the more on the top right corner, the better. Now, some leaders might say, my team is highly productive, and they might be in the red quadrant that you see here. They are highly productive. Why should I change anything? Why should I care about anything else? Because I don't have time. My people are producing. Now, people that are in high productivity but low positivity, those are the teams that are having high turnover. Those are the teams that are burning out. So they might be productive right now, but you're burning them and you're losing them. So the productivity also eventually will get lost. So we want to help these teams to work on any factor that is needed to increase their positivity in the team. If you have a team on the green quadrant, some leaders might say, oh, we're getting along very well. We have a great team culture, and those teams exist. I call them party teams. They are having a wonderful connection between them. They are having a beautiful atmosphere, but they're not producing results, and teams are there to produce results. So we want to help these teams to move higher in their productivity. So we want to help every team to move into the blue quadrant. And I think the brown one, I don't really have to say too much. We have a really big problem when we have teams in this one. They are low in positivity, low in productivity. We find that sometimes when companies are being changed, when there's acquisition, when there's layoffs, we find high criticism, blame, and cynicism in these teams. There's really a lot that we have to support these teams to move them first in any direction. So that's a very high level overview, but what exactly are we looking at now? So in each of these dimensions, we identified 7 factors each, so 14 key factors that we need to look at in order to help teams to increase their effectiveness. On the productivity competencies, we're looking at team leadership, which is not only the leader of the team, it is also how the team leads itself. We're looking at how are they managing accountability and alignment, goals and strategies, decision making. We are looking at how are they able to manage the resources that they have, because sometimes they have little resources, but still the way you manage them is important. How are they proactively moving forward? On the positivity side, we are looking at communication and trust, respect, how they value diversity, because we have cross-functional, cross-cultural teams. We look at the camaraderie, the constructive interaction, how constructively are they interacting with each other, and the optimism of the team. And when we are asking teams, leaders to look at the teams to look at themselves, stakeholders to look outside, we also can do this for whole organizations and then separate by departments, but I'm talking now on the team level, we get some results and we get some rectangle somewhere in these 4 quadrants. And we want to help with the right intervention. So first, we want to figure out where do we have to look at, and then we want to move them to the blue quadrant as much as we can. And if we go a level deeper and really look at these 14 competencies, we get something like this polar diagram. And as you see in this grayish, bluish area here, this is the area that we're looking at. This is the area that tells you about how productive is your team, or how effective is your team, and where is it effective, and where do we need to support them. So we want to have that area as big as we can and as round as we can. We want to have everything, if possible, above 7.5 to really move them into the blue quadrant, and we want to have it round so that every competency is developed. So this team, for example, as you can see, they might want to work a little bit more on trust. and maybe on goals and strategies. And the great thing on this approach is when you work on one of these competencies, automatically you will see. So if you work on trust, automatically, probably your camaraderie will increase as well. Probably your communication will increase as well. And even your proactiveness will increase as well. So working on one of these factors intentionally can help to increase the whole area that we're looking at. And you can wonderfully use this kind of approach to measure before and after, and what you have been changing, what was working, what was not working. And of course, teams come in all sizes and shapes. Which one of these do you imagine might be yours? This one would be a team that is very productive, but not really positive. This would be a rather burnout team. This would be a team that might be more positive, but not really productive. That's like the so-called party team. This is a team where we really have to worry, where we have to put a lot of support in. And this would be an already highly effective team. But as you see, even in highly effective teams, there's always something that you can improve. Plus, if you have a team like this, you have to understand where you have to nurture your team in order to keep it, in order to sustain that effectiveness that you're seeing already. And here's just a short example of a real existing team in IT. They were struggling with having the right directions, with being aligned. They were overwhelmed with understanding their goals. So the dotted line, this one, and also here you see in the rectangles, this was where they were before they started working together as a team, as a system. And they have been working on alignment, they have been working on trust, and they have been working on decision making. These were the three factors that they decided they wanted to improve. And they have been working focused coaching approaches, some training here and there as well, in order to intentionally design their structure, intentionally improve these three factors. And as you can see, they will be able to improve all factors automatically, because you don't have to work on everything. You have to work on what is really most important. So your recipe for helping and supporting your team getting more effective is work with the system. Don't only look at the individuals. It include the leader, because the leader is part of that team, and the leader in this assessment will be seen as a part of the team. And then, of course, you need to assess for clarity to really intentionally be able to support that team. If you identify some knowledge and skills that has to be improved, training and facilitation, of course, can be included, as well as team building, team bonding can be included. But I emphasize the coaching approach, which is really important to have a direct support on the team, because no team is as another one.